Welcome back to the Film and TV channel. We have a big one today, a big budget film, about $80-90 million it cost this one, so that's pretty big these days. It's obviously not if you go back a few years, but I think with all this COVID now, they're watching the budgets, I think, aren't they? So, yeah, interesting. So I'm going to have a look at something, one of my favourite subjects, if you like, about Vikings. I'm going to have a look at the Northman today. 15 certificate, 2 hours and 16 minutes. It's getting a good response. Rotten Tomatoes audience, you're talking 4.1 out of 5, so that equates to 8.2 out of 10. So the Rotten Tomatoes, these aren't the critics. This is Joe Public. These are the guys paying the cash at the turnstile, then, like the old football days, but at the cinema to go and watch this. Internet Movie Database, the other little one we look at, averaging with over 10,500 reviews, 7.9 out of 10. That's pretty impressive, isn't it? And of that, 7,493 scored this between 6 and 9, and just 837 scored it between 2 and 5. So if you look and you follow my little vlogs, I have a little positivity rating. So that's 90% positivity on Northman, of course, for this. So it looks good, doesn't it? I mean, I will tell you now, I do fall within the 6 to 9 range. So that's where I stand. But let's learn a little bit about this film, what's going on with it, etc., and what's caused such positivity from the public. And of course, do the critics agree? That's what we want to know as well. This is classed as an epic. This is their words, not mine. An epic historical action drama directed by, well, Mr. Robert Eggers. We'll have a little bit on him in a moment and my thoughts on Mr. Robert Eggers. Co-written by Eggers and Sean, based on the legend of Amleth, the film. So it's obviously a Viking legend back in time. And it stars, Alexander Skarsgård as Amleth, the main guy, a Viking warrior prince, and Oscar Novak as young Amleth as well, because obviously it's a revenge thing, so obviously starts with it as a child and what happens to his parents, etc. Nicole Kidman's in this as Queen Gudrun, Amleth's mother. Claes Bang as Fjolnir, forgive my pronunciations, guys, Fjolnir the brotherless, Amleth's uncle, and Aravandil's brother. We've got Anya Taylor Joy, of course, as Olga of the Birch Forest, the Slavic sorceress. I mean, this sounds great, doesn't it? Ethan Hawke as King Aravandil, War Raven, Amleth's father and Fiona's brother. Willem Dafoe even makes a sort of little appearance as the fool or the jester, if you like, in the old court. Yeah, there's a lot of feel of native Indians, American Indians in this for me. It has that sort of feel to it. Some of the war dances and sequences with the spiritual stuff and all that sort of thing. And the filming actually took place between August and December 2020. Obviously, we've had to wait a little while with the COVID problems throughout Ireland. So I don't think the volcano was in Ireland, but yeah, everything else was throughout Ireland. And it's been released, certainly as I'm recording this, on the 22nd of April. It's available in the United States, and it's been in here in the UK as well, although it's very, very early days. So what did the critics think? We know the public liked it. What did the critics themselves think? Well, we'll go back to Rotten Tomatoes. And yes, a positivity rating of 89%. That's based on 189 reviews. An average rating of 7.7 out of 10. So just slightly below the IMDB rating, but still a very good rating for the critics. 168 fresh and 21 rotten. So there's some rotten. There's some people who didn't like it. The consensus of the site: a bloody revenge. This is as in bloody, not in swearing. A bloody revenge epic and breathtaking visual marvel. They say the Northman finds filmmaker Robert Eggers expanding his scope without sacrificing any of his signature style. I wish he would, though. That's the problem for me. That's the first hint that wasn't. Even though I did score it between 6 and 9, that was the first hint that didn't quite work, Mr. Eggers, but we'll talk about him in a minute. But not everyone on Rotten Tomatoes liked it. As I said, a lot of positivity. But searching through, I found a couple of guys that I usually trust, if you like, or sort of take notice of what they say. Peter de Brugge from Variety. He said, it's ultimately rather dull and hardly any fun. I'm not gonna disagree with that too much, in all fairness. Kevin Mayer from The Times here in the UK, he said, a one-note fiasco and foam-flecked depiction of cartoon machismo from a gifted filmmaker who should have known better. So there you go. So it wasn't all positive, although, as I said, I deliberately used those. There are lots and lots of positives. Those are just a couple of negatives, I say, from people I've used before, and I do respect their opinion. Metacritic, the other critic site, got a weighted average of 82 out of 100. So again, very, very high. That's based on 43 critics. And it scored anywhere. The lowest it scored was 60. So that's the lowest. And the highest, of course, was 100, which I don't believe for 1 minute. But a 60F, Nicholas Barber gave it a 60. He's from the BBC. He said, compared to most US action adventures, the Northman is adventurous and distinctive. It feels compromised, but the great stuff outweighs the not so great stuff. To see or not to see, that is the question. The answer is see it. You know, it was not Shakespeare, mate. I don't know, got all Shakespeare there for a little while then. The Telegraph's Tim Roby, he was a bit more kinder on it. Yeah, he scored it very highly. He said, though this be madness, yes, there is method in it. Alexander Skarsgård's Prince Amleth rampages through a mythological epic of savage beauty. There you go. So it just leaves the final little bit of this piece for me. I do appreciate what Eggers does, but his stuff doesn't really do it for me. I'll be honest with you. I'm thinking of The Lighthouse, which wasn't, I thought was better than Lighthouse, that's for sure. But I still found it hard going. I don't like this sort of thing. It's a basic adventure revenge story. There's nothing clever about it. The plot reads okay, fine. But I did get a little bored from time to time with it, even though it's sort of epic and looks quite epic and well put together. Of course, he spent some money on it, but yeah, I did get a little bit tired at sometimes. I just wanted it to kick on. I mean, The Lighthouse, for instance, which I just quoted before, was admired by many, and of course, if you did enjoy The Lighthouse, I mean, for me, that's the way Eggers does his films, and this one is no different. Northman is no different to that style, even though obviously you can't get much further different, can you? But I don't think there's much as a psychological thing in this, perhaps, as The Lighthouse either. But there's something in the way that Eggers' filmmaking that doesn't work. As I say, it just doesn't work for me. I just don't enjoy them particularly. I'm not saying they're particularly bad, but I'm just saying they don't. I know I wouldn't go mad on it like a lot of people are doing. I mean, as I said, there were elements of this I enjoyed. $90 million, I hope so. It's just that I'm a big fan, if you think of it. I'm a big fan. The Last Kingdom, I like that TV series at the moment. I'm a big fan of Vikings. I'm a big fan of Vikings Valhalla, the latest version of that. And I just that's the style I want in this sort of film. And this isn't that style at all. You could probably take this plot and storyline and transfer it into the Vikings world, if you like. But yeah, this Eggers version, this Eggers style, cinematically excellent. Of course it is. It just doesn't float my boat as much as it should do. As I say, I'm not saying I didn't. I thought it was a total failure. You know that I scored it at least 6, didn't I? I'll tell you the score in a minute. And I did really like the final battle scene. I thought that was excellent. But I mean, obviously that's probably 5 minutes at most of the whole thing. And although the actors did a good job, I find the accents in the Viking series very odd, and obviously they're all over the place. But I found them even worse in this. I just, obviously people from the same clans and the same family. I just found the accents all a bit strange. And of course, apart from putting it in the original Viking language of the 10th century or whatever it was, which I think would be pretty impossible even for the Vikings themselves. There's not a lot you could do about that. You've got to the actors have got to act. And sorry, I just found this a little bit more comical, perhaps, and it sort of, because I did get a little bit bored with it. I was obviously noticing, because I don't usually bother about accents. If you watch any of my vlogs, I'm not that bothered about accents, but it's just something in this, and it just seemed a bit all over the place for me. But that's because I was getting a little bit bored at times, and so I noticed the accents more than what was going on, perhaps on the screen. It certainly felt long for me. It was, as I said, it just seems to drone on a little bit. It's obviously 2 hours, 16 minutes. Take out the credits, probably just over 2 hours. But yeah, it's just because I wasn't totally blown away. I just did find it a bit long. So despite the negatives, I'm going to give it between 6 and 9. But what am I going to give it? Well, I'm going to give it the basic 6 out of 10, which is my watchable rating, which means it wasn't a total disaster. But if you're an Eggers fan, if you like his work, then you'll probably like this. As I say, some people say it's not, as say it's certainly not as psychologically affecting as say The Lighthouse or something like that. But if you do like the way Eggers does things, and I could, even before I knew it was, I didn't actually know this was Eggers before I watched it. But when I was watching it, I was thinking Lighthouse, and obviously it was. And as I say, I do read up a lot on films and TV, but I forget things. I get Empire magazine, I get Film magazine, and I've seen interviews about this Northman, and I just forget things. I just forget. I haven't got the greatest memory. So, yeah, when I was watching it, I was thinking Lighthouse, and I thought, yeah, I wanted to like Lighthouse as well a lot, and I sort of didn't particularly. And I wanted to like this a lot, and at times I didn't with this, but I will give it a 6 out of 10 anyway. So there you go. If you like Eggers' work, I think you'll like this certainly more than I do. As I said, I don't wait with bated breath for any more Eggers style stuff. That's for sure. They just don't work for me. But as I said, 6 out. I will give it the watchable rating, and if you do. Let me know what you think, guys. Anyway, as I say, is Eggers your cup of tea? But I just think with the ensemble there, I wanted a big Viking adventure, and it just didn't feel like it. Actually, I did like certain elements. I like the Valhalla elements, if you like, the sort of supernatural elements. I do like that side of it, but I like that side of it in Vikings as well. I like that darker side of things. I like to know a little bit more about it. So I did enjoy that element. There's a couple of sequences in this. I'm not going to tell too much about it, but obviously the Valhalla. And I even remember one of the books, Terry Pratchett books, or obviously this Valhalla thing where they carried up to Valhalla on a by lady warriors on white, big white horses, stuff like this. And there's just stuff in it I quite liked, because obviously I was thinking back to Terry Pratchett and various things in mythology. So, but as I said, overall it wasn't great, but it was okay. It was okay, just watchable. Anyway, let me know what you think, guys. Thanks for watching. Please, I only ask one thing, don't I, till we meet again. Please stay safe, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.